Hi, this is John Brock at Brockworks. Today I'm going to show you how we create 3D site models in SketchUp for our custom home building projects. Now this is a site that we're going to be working on, and I'm using this, we generate these site models not only to get a visualization, but to really study the grading and to see if a cut and fill analysis. So in this case, I know we're going to have to haul dirt off of this site, and I really want to give my client a reasonable expectation of cost for that. Plus it's a very tight lot, so I may need to haul that dirt off as I'm excavating. So this is a site model that we're doing, and we do existing sites and then we do proposed sites, and then we can actually compare the volumes, which I'll show you, to determine our cut fill analysis. So this is the actual site plan I was given. Now there's typically three ways that we can bring in the topo data that we need into SketchUp. The best way is if a surveyor has done the survey out there, done the topo analysis, and they give us a DWG that has all the contour lines in the Z-axis ready to roll, and then that's super easy. You can do it instantly. Another option is if we have a relatively cleared lot, we have a Trimble RPT 600, and my guy Mason in the office, he goes out to the field, walks around with the RPT 600, collects shot points. We bring that back over into SketchUp, and we use Fredo's Topo Shaper to create the 3D mesh for the surface. Now in this case, we've got a site plan that has contour lines, and I'm just going to recreate those by tracing over top of them and then moving them up into the Z-axis. Takes a little bit of time, but it's not that bad on a site like this. So we'll jump into it and get started. So the first thing I do is I'm going to set up my project first. So we take our sites and we rotate them to fit the house, not the other way around. So I want to start out with bringing in the plans that we're going to be building off of. So the first step for us is using PDF Importer. Disclaimer, that is one of our extensions, but we need to bring in the floor plans that allow us to then build on top of them. So I'm going to find that job, find the floor plan. So what we're going to do is import the PDF. Now this is the actual main floor. I start out with the main floor and I bring that in to the 000, sort of centered on that axis there. And so these are the grips that you can use in PDF Importer to kind of close it into just the region that you want, so you're not wasting any space. I'm going to choose 1/4 inch scale because that's the scale factor that is on the drawings, and then import the PDF. So as this is coming in, the process is I'll start with the main floor, I'll bring that in, make sure it's centered, make sure it's scaled properly, and then we'll do a story pole to then bring in the next level, the lower level, and then the site plan and so forth. Okay, now that this floor plan is in, and you can see it's somewhat centered, I'm just kind of go into perspective here and kind of say, yeah, that looks like it's good on the 000. Now what I'm going to do first is I want to find a common corner to the next plan, onto the basement plan. Now this is a walkout basement, and in this case they dimension to framing. I normally go to sheathing, but right now they've got a dimension to framing, so that's what we're going to use as our reference point, this outside corner of framing. Okay, let me take that back. I need to verify my scale real quick. That says 4 foot 1 and 5/8. Let's see if this will be 8 feet, and we're at 8 feet, so we're good to scale. So the first thing I'm going to do is T for tape measure, and I'm going to come down 3/4 of an inch because that's my subfloor thickness. From there I'm going to come down 16 inches because that's what the depth of the trusses are. From there I'm 1.5 inches for a sill plate on the top of the foundation. From there I'm down 9 feet. That's bottom of the wall. Okay, and then from there I'm going to come up 4 inches because it's a 4-inch slab from there. And then this main floor wall is 9 foot 1 1/8. All right, so that's a story pole for this house. And I'm going to take these guide points that I have in here, and I'm going to group them. Then I'm going to come in and I'm going to lock it because I don't want these guide points to get deleted. All right, when you do delete guides, it's going to erase that. Let me show you a quick little tip and a free plugin called Locked Guide Saver. So I just put in a guideline, right? Control G for me is my shortcut to delete guides. But instead of having it go to delete guides, it's actually going to Locked Guide Saver, which is a free plugin. I'll put a link to it in there that you can get on the extension warehouse. And what that will do is delete all your guides that aren't locked. Okay, so therefore I don't lose this in that group. All right, so now that I've got my story pole and I've got the main floor, I'm going to bring in the lower level real quick. So I'll do the same process, same floor plan, or same set of drawings. It's the next page over is the lower level. So I'm going to do the same thing and kind of crop just the region I want. You really don't want any of this unnecessary text and stuff that's going to just bloat your files. And it's the same scale, so we'll import that. And what that's going to do is it's going to come in at the same sort of central spot, sort of 0, 0, 0, but we're going to then move it down to where the outside corner of the framing for the lower level is going to be down on that spot that's above the slab, right? Because above the slab is where we're going to be framing from there up. All right, so now we got the basement plan in here. Now it looks like a garbled bunch of mess here, so I'm just going to come in and find this foundation plan. Clicking on that, it comes in as a group, and I'm going to kind of move it out of the way for right now just to see it better. And there's that same outside corner of framing right here into this lower level bedroom as in that upper level dining room. And I'm going to move it and snap it right to that point on top of the slab. Okay, so now if I go to parallel projection and looking straight down, I can see that everything is lining up the way that it's supposed to. I did find a mistake earlier on this in the architect's plans. Another great reason for doing all this is the guy that designed it has the dimension on the upper level different from the lower level. Right here it's 10.11, and then on the other level it's like 10.7 or something like that. It's off by about 3 inches, so we can fix that, or 2 inches, so we can fix that, but this brought that to life. All right, so now we've got our job set up, our floor plans are set up, all right, and we've got this nice stacked situation here. These are going to go on their own layer, so this case are tags. This would be my main one, so this is A1 floor plan, okay, and then this one is a O floor plan, okay, and I'm going to cut that lower level floor plan back on for a minute because that's what I want to use to line up our site plan. All right, so I'm going to actually save right now because SketchUp is prone to some splats every now and then. All right, so now I'm going to do file import, and I'm going to choose this site plan that we have for this project. So let's go try to find just the site plan right here, and we're going to import that. Now in this case, again, I'm cutting out as much as I can. I want the dock in there because I'm actually going to place the dock into position on this project. And I'm going to, again, come in, get rid of as most of the title block as I can. And this scale is 1 inch to 10 foot. So I'll change my scale factor to 1 inch equals 10 feet. All right. And then we'll import this. And then once that comes in, we're going to still find that same common stacked point, and we're going to move it over, but then we have to rotate it to align it. So remember, we're going to rotate the site to fit the house, not the other way around. You want to keep everything in those red and green axes. We're also going to get north out of this. So now when we set solar north in SketchUp, when we're in Inkscape, the sun's going to be coming in and out of the windows like it's supposed to, depending on where you have it set up. All right, so here's the site plan. And again, I'm going to kind of just move it out of the way a little bit. And this back corner of the house right here, I know it's got these extra boxes and stuff that came in, which is kind of a clutter, but it's right here at this corner. So I'm moving it from here, and I'm going to come in and snap right on top of the same spot down on that basement plan to there. Okay, now that I'm there, I need to rotate it. So Q is rotate, and I'm going to pick that spot. I'm hitting the up arrow so it's in the blue axis that it's going to rotate with. I'm going to find this line here. I'll zoom out a little bit. I want that line to rotate to the framing line of the house, and we're there. So then I go around and I just look, because remember, a lot of times you're going to have a site person that's different from the draft person that did the plan. So and sometimes they're changed. Sometimes the changes were made, the site plan was done, and then the architect makes changes, they extend a wall, they do other things, then things don't mesh. In a case you're going to see on here is I think some of the retaining walls they call for and some of the grades they call for aren't going to work. And that's the whole purpose of this exercise. So just in general, looking around, everything looks like it's hitting right, okay? And again, you have two different people that did this, so there's going to be chance for some errors. All right, so in looking at this plan, I'm going to cut off the floor plan just for a second. You can see here that they have called for what looks to me like the basement elevation is 805, and the front 815. Convenient that it's just 10 feet. I mean, it's going to vary depending on what we just did in that story pole. But we're going to use the 805 for right now. To bring some clarity to that 805, we build on Smith Mountain Lake in Virginia. The full pond height of that lake, which is this line down in here, is 795 feet above sea level. So the 795 is full pond. The 800 contour is the property lines in our market. Everything below that 800 is owned by the power company, and everything above the 800 is owned by the owner, right? So there is some land there that they get into where you can't remove trees and a whole bunch of political crap we won't get into. So what I'm going to do now is I'm using that 805 as a reference. Now I don't want to do 800 feet above my model here. You know, that's just getting kind of silly. So I'm going to use 800 to consider that as 0 in terms of our elevations. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this site and I'm going to move it down 5 feet, because the basement slab would then be 5 feet at the 805, right? So that's what we're considering the 805 to be, is at the slab. And this is down to the 800. All right, so now that we have that, I'm going to start generating the contours. Now this is a little slower process here, but I'm going to start at the top here, and I've got this 820 out here. And literally, I'm just going to trace on top of it. I can't really use the geometry that's there, these dashed lines. So I'm just kind of not being perfect about it. I'm just tracing around to get that 820 in there. Then I'm going to triple click, which selects all the connected edges to that. And I'm going to move it up 20 feet straight up, okay? Now, I really could do this one out the street, but I'm not given what that contour is. But for what we're doing, in fact, let's just go ahead and do that. Let's say that let's say that's only about a foot higher. But that'll give us a more complete model for up at near the street. So let's do that all the way to there. And let's say that that is maybe, let's go 1 foot higher. Let's go 821. We're kind of guessing at that, but this really is not going to be crucial. Let me do that again. So we'll move that up 21 feet. All right. Now we'll go just continuing the process. And I'll probably speed this up, just speed up the video so you're not having to watch me painstakingly go line by line here. Okay, this last line is a 795, which is the full pond, and so I'm going to move this down 5 feet because we were at 800. We're considering as our 0, so I'm going down 5 feet. All right, so now we should have all of our contours. I'm going to take this plan here, the site plan, and I'm going to put it on our site layer for 2D, just so we can control its visibility, and then we cut that off. So now we can see the sight lines, and you can see I missed one. All right. So let's cut that back on and find out which one I missed. So it looks like I missed the 814 in here. So I will quickly model that. And again, I'm not being exact in here, but it's close. So let's get this guy done. Triple click and move that up 14 feet. Okay, let's cut off the 2D site. Now you can see we have our contours. Now I like to take all of these contours. I'm going to select them all here. Get out from underneath that story pole that I don't want to collect. Let me shift and click on that to get rid of it. All right, so I've got all my contours selected. I'm going to put these on a layer or a tag that is site contours existing. All right, so let's cut those back on. All right, now that we have all of our contours, we can create our site model. Now you got a couple different ways you can do this. And so you could take all the contours and you could use SketchUps from contours and the sandbox tools and click on that and get a 3D mesh. But if I was to cut on the hidden geometry, you'll see it's just heavily triangulated with, and it gets a little bit wonky when you get off to the interpolation between the lines, okay? So I prefer to use Fredo's Topo Shaper. Okay, well first of all, that from contours gave us a mesh. That's not a volume, it's not a solid. You have to actually put a skirt to it to make it a solid. So the easier approach is to select all of these contours. And then we're going to use Fredo's Topo Shaper. It's a free plugin. You can get it on Sketchucation. And he's got the generated quad mesh from contours, or you can do it from the shot points. We use the shot points when we go out and shoot these points ourselves. This time I'm just going to use the tool that's from the contours. So it's going through, it's going to cleanse any lines. Maybe you have some segments that weren't connected. There's a whole bunch of stuff in here. I haven't even taken the time to figure out what all it does. I just know it works when I say calculate terrain. It's giving you a chance to check it out. You preview it. Yeah, it looks great. Generate the terrain. And then you'll just be able to click once you're said and done here, once it's done. Yeah, good. Click to be done. Right? So now that looks great. I'm going to cut these contours off. All right. The problem with this is I go to Entity Info and I'm not seeing a volume up here. That's not going to help me out. So what happens is when Fredo's tool works in, you see the whole bottom is undone. And when you edit this group, the top is a surface is a mesh, but the skirt is in a group. So the first thing I do is right click and explode that. Then all I gotta do is come down to the bottom and connect 2 points to heal that bottom. And now when I click on it, I've got a volume. All right, so now we're set. So then when I come in and I can cut on the floor plan, for example, you can see I'm really in the ground on this one. So there's a lot of work that has to be done on the excavating part of this. So this is actually the actual site. I was out there yesterday, took a video of the site, so you can get a sense of what we just made from the street down to the lake is the existing site model that we've generated for now. All right, so the next video I'll get in and showing how we do the excavated site plan or site model and then do the proposed site. So we'll get into doing foundation work and everything else, but this is how we do the existing sites, and we'll pick it up in the next video. Thanks for watching.